This is the FBI. You have a federal warrant for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant for this.
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You need a breach? What do you need?
Need one.
I don't know.
Oh, it's all better than money.
All
Thank you.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands off the Uhuru movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
Comrades, brothers and sisters, welcome to this program we have for you. It's just going to be a powerful program. It's going to be a dynamic program. It's going to be something that's going to change the way you understand what's going on right now in part of Africa, West Africa, and particularly in Niger. So this is an important meeting. And I would like everyone who has joined, you can begin to like this program and share this program. We want this program to go as wide as possible. And this is a historical program. We have among the panelists, first of all, we have Chairman Yeshitela, the leader of African Revolution, but also the leader of the world revolution. You've seen why he came under attack, because he's leading the revolution to change the world. So you can't miss these. Please share widely, and also like it. Don't watch without liking it. You must like it and share it straight away. And we have Comrade Ibrahim Hamadou, who is the Secretary General of Union des Syndicats Libres des Travailleurs in Niger. So we need to welcome this brother, this comrade in this meeting, and that's why I'm asking you to share and like this program straight away. So he will be speaking to us during this program. And you heard Chairman saying they're attacking us. Why? Because we have the temerity to do like Marcus Garvey. And so we have organizers all over Africa. So we're going to have Director Tafarie, Mugeri, who is organizing right down in Africa, particularly in Southern Africa. So he is also in the program. And we have from the country of the great Kwame Nkrumah, Comrade Afua, who is the Director of Economic Finance in West Africa, right there in Ghana. So we're going to hear from her too. And we have Comrade Morlai, Conteh in Sierra Leone, and he's the chair of our party in Sierra Leone. So he will also be part of this program. And I'm Luwezi Kinshasa, the Secretary General of African Socialist International, also part of this program. So we just want to welcome everyone who has joined this program. Please share and like. This is fundamental. You're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, wherever you are, share and like the program. So welcome everyone. I just want to say hello to all our panelists, and then we're going to move now to the slide. And this slide, basically, we want people to have a historical understanding. So France just didn't start attack Africa today. It's a historical process. So the slide you see is basically the region. That's what we call the West Africa region. So you can see the front lines, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, and possibly Chad, Central African Republic. But those three countries are there. Next. These are the new figures. These are new leadership. We are going in the right direction at the moment because they're opposing French, they're pushing French colonizers out. And this is the leader of Mali is Miss Assimi Goïta, is the leadership of Mali today. Next, please. We have Ibrahim Traoré. They killed Thomas Sankara, but now we have another leader who is saying he's the new Thomas Sankara. French imperialists out. So this is part of the new leadership that have revitalized the anti-colonial struggle in Burkina Faso. Next, please. We have the General Chiani, and the US were betting on him that he's going to be their guy. But surprise, surprise, he has to unite with the struggle for the people in Niger and also in the region. French imperialists out, and more importantly, the US military also have to get out of Niger. So we unite with those demands. So this General Chiani, and Colonel Assimi Goïta and Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the three of them, they have created what we call the Alliance of Sahel State. Sahel started from Mauritania in West Africa by the Atlantic coast, all the way to Somalia by the Red Sea. All this zone just below the Sahara Desert. That's what they call Sahel. So these three countries are going in the right direction. Next, please. And as you can see, the people are really clear. French imperialists out, US imperialists out. The colonizers are saying it's a coup. No, the people say we are part of this struggle. Out, down with the colonizers. Next, please. And, we heard all this story about a coup, but we need to know that out of 486 attempted or successful military coup carried globally since the 1950s, Africa accounts for the largest number with 214, of which at least 106 have been successful. And since the 1990s, a striking 78% of the 27 coups in sub-Saharan Africa have occurred in Francophone. These are how displeased, how angry the people are with French colonialism in particular. It does not mean other colonizers are good. No. Nkrumah was kicked out of power by the United States and the British. So the all colonizers that are involved in the coup. The coup is not like African culture. The coup is just a clear manifestation of colonial model production. When you have that, and when you prevent the masses from being part of the solution, that's what happens. So next one. And modern France, born out of colonial attacks on Africa. French language, with French colonialism in Africa, you will not have French languages because it was a tiny language spoken in a tiny place, part of France, particularly in the capital of France. The most people didn't speak it. It's colonialism that gave French language life. French literature built on colonial attacks on Africa. French cuisine built on colonial attack on Africa. French like to boast about the Republic of France, basically moving from aristocracy, from nobility of monarchy to system of what they call, French democracy with the Republic. That's also a product of French Revolution, which itself a product of colonial model production. We, the Africans in Haiti, Martinique, we funded the French Revolution. Now, next, please. Modern France, born and attacked African people, continue in the Americas. You know, Haiti, Martinique, Guadeloupe, Guyana, La Réunion, Louisiana, yes, Louisiana in the US, New Caledonia in the Pacific Island. All these are central locations of French accumulation of colonial capital, basically of more of colonialism as a mode of production. Every Africans need to know that. Next. France demand of ransom for 150 million francs in 1825 to African people in Haiti. That's all allowed France to build Eiffel Tower, among other things. So you can see modern France built by the sweat and the blood of African people. No Africans should forget that. It doesn't matter where you are. You should know that. Next. France supported Du Bois against Marcus Garvey and the UNIA in 1921. We're fighting for freedom. Garvey led the biggest, largest freedom movement on the planet. And Du Bois opposed it, and he got the help from the French president. You can see Clemenceau in this picture. And we need to know that too. Next, please. France relies on African soldiers to free itself from German occupation. Not only we died, we bled for France to be free from German rules, but in 1944, just before the end of the World War, because the African soldiers were demanding their bonuses and salaries to be paid, the French responded in Africa, in Senegal, by massacring the African soldiers. Unarmed African soldiers. It's just massacre, just unbelievable. You know, next please. The decline of France. France was defeated in Vietnam. It was a great victory for the all colonized people, 1954, just like the Palestinians are defeating the settlers, Israeli, in occupied Palestine, and it's landmark for all the colonized people. The same way was Dien Bien Phu in 1954. And after that, straight away, a year later, the FLN in Algeria launches the National War for Liberation. Next. 1955 also the beginning of we spoke about it, the beginning of Algerian insurrection. Next. France, to prevent the collapse of France colonial empire, they proposed a new colonial solution. They say, okay, we're all part of French unity or French community. You can see here Senghor, who was a darling of French colonialism in Africa, with the goal in Senegal. Next. Sékou Touré said no to the continuity of French colonialism. And Sékou Touré is on the right. He was the one who led the struggle in Guinea. And on the left, you've got the Mau in Kenya, who also led the struggle in the 50s to end direct colonial rule. Next, please. And France responded with a condescendency. You know, they couldn't win politically. They couldn't win ideologically. So they movement. And here you have French Operation Persil, and they explain what it was about. Our aim was to destabilize Sékou Touré, make him vulnerable and unpopular, make it easier for the opposition to seize power. These destabilizing actions included Operation Persil, for example, which consisted of introducing large quantities of counterfeit Guinean banknotes into the country with the aim of destabilizing the economy. So you can see what the French did to prevent African freedom from becoming the norm. Next, please. France bombarded the African nationalist resistance in Cameroon between 1955 and 1960. They used the same method as in Nigeria at the time, hunted down and presented as terrorists the UPCs. The UPCs were the leadership of the anti-colonial movement in Cameroon at that time. Were infiltrated, arrested, tortured, deported, murdered, and beheaded. Dozens of villages were razed to the ground, others bombarded with napalm, their population displaced and herded into camps to cut off the maquisards. These are the freedom fighters. From their popular support, the repression particularly targeted the Bassa ethnic group, the main breeding ground of the rebellion. So it's quite clear from the Haiti Revolution to now, French colonizers, French imperialism is opposed to African freedom. Next, please. France continued to impose a yes candidate to the Gold Project of French community in Niger, which Sékou Touré rejected. So in Niger, they launched a counter-insurgency known as Operation Colombani to defeat Sahaba. Sahaba was an anti-colonial movement in Niger led by Djibril Bakary, and they imposed Hamani, who became the first president, the first neo-colonial president of Niger after they destroyed Djibril Bakary movement, Sahaba. Next, please. The picture you see, that's here, the next picture, that's the leader of Sahaba movement. And straight away, the neo-colonial Amani Diori, the first thing he did is to outlaw the movement of Sahaba. So in contrast to other political formation active in Niger before the country's independence in 1960, the Sahaba Party, founded in 1954, represented not just a political machine, but a genuine social movement. It had roots in the trade unions, especially private sector unions. At its core was made up of so-called petit peuple, the little folk, the small people, the commoners, who in the course of colonial rule left the countryside for Niger in a small but new urban universe. So basically, the picture you have here, this is the picture of the leader of the Sahaba movement. Next, please. Over 200 coups and coup attempts in Africa, and France did a lot of it. So here, just in Niger, you have Amari Diori, was a president between 1966 and 1974. He was overthrown by Seni Conteh on the French command, 1974. This one was overthrown by Mahaman Ousmane, who also was overthrown by Ibrahim Barry Mainasara, who also was overthrown by Mamadou Tanja. You can see a series of coups, and every time is a French intervention. And of course, the coup of today by General Chani, this is an anti-colonial coup. That's an anti-French coup. When most of the coup before were the coup by French to prevent change, to prevent the people from enjoying freedom or having our own power. But this coup, this time, is an anti-colonial coup. That's why the French are upset. It's not their coup. Next, please. You all know Niger uranium powers electricity to France's home. Over 75% of electricity used in France come from uranium. And but 14.3% of Africans in Niger have no access to the electrical grid. And even those with a connection suffer from frequent blackouts. Not a single nuclear reactor in Niger, zero. France has over 56 nuclear reactors. Not only that, France exports electricity throughout Europe. Next, please. Francophone colonies as French backyards. And you know, France controls the economy of those 14 African colonies. France through the CFA currency. And then France is saying there is a hatred of France. No, we refuse to be colonized, and we're rejecting French colonial domination. We have no reason to love colonialism. Every human being anywhere must hate colonialism, and that's what we're doing. We want to be free like everybody else. Next slide, please. And of course, if you kick the French out, history has shown us from Haiti to Vietnam, to Congo, you kick the French out, you kick the Persian out, who comes after? Straight with the US. So the US is your strategic policies in Africa. They have been attacking strong state, like, stable state, like the Libya state, the Somali state, the Sudan state. They have a clear strategic goals to control African mineral resources at the expense of other competitors. They have created Africa, and African, everywhere we are, we cannot forget that the United States, the leading imperialist colonizers in the world, that we need to face in order to be free. So Africa comes the strategy that we need to take into consideration. So it's everywhere in Africa almost. You have a African bases or some kind of detachments, something like that. And they're doing that to prevent the unification of Africa. Next, please. And you got two faces for U.S. colonial power. You have Blinken, and you have also the, I can't see the name, I had the name here, but I can't back the name, I forgot the name of this general, but I think it's the 4-star general of the U.S. Army. I think it's that general, I can't pretend the name, I had it here, but I can't see it on the slide. Okay, no, it's not him, it's not lawyer name. Next, please. This is just one example of the U.S. military bases this is in Djibouti. You can see the U.S. base. U.S. is the leader for NATO wars in Africa. If you know Somali, you know what's going on in Congo, what's going on in Sudan, what's going on in Mozambique, and what's going on in West Africa. I just put Niger, Burkina Faso, but the other countries, the US are also involved in destabilizing. You all know about Libya. So you have plenty of evidence that the US is leading the NATO wars in Africa. It's real. It's not something we're discussing. It's real. The name of the general, I forgot, it was General Langley. Thank you, Comrade. Next, please. Here you have the first, I think, is the Minister of Defense of the United States, that General Lloyd Austin. So you can see, you know, and the other guy is the General Brown of also the U.S. Army. You got the black faces of the U.S. colonial armies, and this is not by accident. This is not a coincidence, because the United States recognized the significance of Africa as the foundation of colonialism and of colonial mode of production. That's really, it has to be clear in the heads of all Africans. Next, please. Of course, this is the picture of coming out of St. Petersburg summit in July of last year. And so you go President Putin, all the Africans head of state. And this is part of the crisis, because the Africans, they're saying they prefer an alliance with Russia and others, particularly Russia, than to be in alliance with the traditional colonizers. And this is upsetting the balance of powers. But although, you know, we do recognize the right to choose our own ally, but we are followers of Marcus Garvey. We want to have our own power, and we are really clear on that. You know, we support the struggle in Niger, we support the struggle in Mali, we support the struggle in Burkina Faso, but we also have to pursue our own power. That's fundamental. Next, please. This is the Russian general in Mali with one of the ministers in Mali. And on the right, you go Chinese base in Djibouti. Djibouti has US base, French base, Chinese base. I think they have Japanese base now too. It's just everyone, as Chairman Open say, has an African plan. Everyone trying to have now African military base as part of African plan. The question is, where is the African plan? Where is the African base? And under the leadership of Chairman Omali said, we are respond to that. We have the African plan, and this meeting is a part of that too, building a real, genuine solidarity with what's going on the ground in Niger, so we can forward the African revolution. And nobody has that as the agenda. Next, please. Okay, there should be, yes. And as we know, we are part of the African national liberation struggle. We are part of the rise of anti-colonial struggle around the world. In fact, we have provided a key explanation that the fundamental question is the colonial question. And you heard the chairman earlier say we are the temerity to do what Garvey did, and that's why we are under attack, because we want the African revolution to happen, to go to its full conclusion. We want colonialism as a mode of production to go. We are demanding reparation to the colonizers. We are saying we are one Africa, one African nation, and we came under attack. So we want everyone to know about this campaign to defeat the attempt by the United States to frame our chairman, to frame our comrades from the solidarity. And this meeting is a part of that too, to win. That's why we say we are winning. This is a part of it. We have to defeat colonialism as a mode of production, the U.S. colonizers in West Africa, but also in the U.S. That's where the United States imperialism home is, and that's fundamental to all Africans around the world. So we want people to go to Hands of Uhuru, Hands of Africa, and take actions. You can be about the campaign. There are a lot of things you can do. We're going to talk about it throughout the program, but we want you to go there straight, while you're watching this program, and act on it now. So I think this is my final presentation. I just want to say thank you to everyone who listen and will unite with all we asking you to do so far. Like it, share it, like it, share it. So as I say to you earlier, this is going to be a dynamic program. So I'm going to move the agenda, and the next presenter is going to be the dynamic director of organization for African Socialist International in Africa, Comrade Tafarie Mugeri, who is also the chair of African People's Socialist Party in Occupier Azania. Uhuru Director Tafarie. Okay, so we have an issue here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the agenda. We have our distinguished guests for today. Remember, we're talking about Niger today. We say France out, US out, and we have for you live comrades Ibrahim Hamadou, who is also the Secretary General of the Union des Syndicats Libres des Travailleurs, the free trade unions. And he will be speaking to us. So let me take, let's see if he can hear us. Come on, Ibrahim.
Yes, do you hear me, Uhuru?
Yes, you go ahead, comrade.
Uhuru. Satisfied to hear you about this introduction. And I would like to say Uhuru to Mrs. Diego, who has done a good job in the conference in our commission at Cuba. So he presents the party Uhuru and all the people who has been to the conference know now about Uhuru to our Miss Diego who come to the conference. I say Uhuru, and I thank her very much, too much. And in Niger, we are very, very in front of the new authorities. When we go to the presidents, we say that we are the first to say thank you for the new authorities. Thank you to push France out. Thank you to say no to the military forces of US. And we are together, and we have a struggle in whether to win the imperialism. So in Niger, the coup d'etat has been done by the military forces, like a donation of blood, because all the population, in spite of the leaders of the imperialism who are always stay in our countries, which are together to do to say no to imperialism, to say no to US armies forces. They are there, and we get the terrorism who are making so difficult situation in our countries. So we say no to imperialism, and we say that we have to be together with Mali authorities, Burkina Faso authorities, and their authorities to join our hand together in all the plan of economic and political social movement. So we are the example of Africa. We are the example of Pan-Africanism. We say to the presidents that we are together with Benin people, we are together with Ivory Coast people, Ghana people. Is not that they condemn Niger, that the ECOWAS, that we will against the Confederation. No, we say we are against the presidents who are following the imperialism system. We are against the presidents of every we are against the president of Benin, but all the population, all the people of Africa, we have, and we're very satisfied to South Africa, who say no to imperialism against the Palestinian people. So it is an historical example for South Africa. I say Uhuru, South Africa. I say well life to South Africa system. We are together. And the new data I want to pass here is that our trade unions are known by Uhuru Party, and they say yes to Uhuru Party because Uhuru is against imperialism. The ideology is against imperialism. So today, the introduction that my comrade Luwezi have done is a very, very historical things that go straight our earth, and we know that we have to say no to imperialism. So I try to come to Cuba right now for the first name because of this Cuba. We know that the U.S. condemned Cuba by force. In fairness, they say that Cuba, like a terrorist, they say that Cuba is condemning for 65 years embargo. All the people in Geneva say no to the embargo in spite of U.S. and Israel. But that false news, that is a fairness system that if we talk about the system of Niger today is a revolution, and we get the same ideology of parties. And we say, thank you for what you are doing to the Pan-Africanism. We say, thank you for what you are struggling. And the chairman, we are together with the chairman, and we say, thank you. However, the justice of US condemns you, we are together with you. We say Uhuru to you. We say that you are doing a good job. You are doing the liberation of Pan-Africans, particularly Black. And we say that in our plan of the alliance of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, that we say no to the imperialism, and we will sell our uranium to whom we like. We will specify our partners. We will diversify our partners to sell our food to who we like, and we will do our best in this system. Particularly the Uhuru Party, I told it to my comrades, and they agree the ideology, and they say that there will be a part of this ideology, and they are there to they put there the adhesion to this party, and so we have been so whipped by the embargo that the ECOWAS has put on us. We have so there's so many difficulties that Nigeria cut is electricity in spite of between Niger and Nigeria. We have so get many difficulties of UMOA, who is the new economist of West Africa, the SEFA, and they condemn us in false way and in a human way that is not sustainable, and we say we have to come out of ECOWAS. We congratulate our authorities that they have taken to be out from ECOWAS. ECOWAS, like the leader of imperialism system, a kind of maintaining always the neo-colonialism. So we say we have to liberate our economy. We have to liberate our societies. We have to liberate all. And toward this example, I mean, with South Africa and other African countries, we done the ideology of common purpose to get the unity of Africa, to get the freedom of Africa, to get the freedom in social and political plan. So we have to fight and struggle together in order to get the free. To free Africa is not easy, but we have to struggle against those leaders who get the ideology of imperialism. We have to fight against those presidents who are staying to maintain the neo-colonialism system in our countries. We have to get the ideology and get to open-minded all Africanism to be the same in over the world. And we know that some of the imperialist countries, they are organizations who are there to this kind of party like Uhuru. And we know that we get some organization in Cuba. And I try to make a speech in spite of people who talk about Palestine, about the other oppressed people. And the time has not permitted me that day to make a I said that I sent also Uhuru to the Cuba people. But as I said, Mrs. Diego has done a good job for Uhuru Party. And I can be the one who can say, yes, she has done it. She has done a good struggle for the party in Cuba. And she is an example. And I try to struggle against this imperial system in all over the world because it is a sacrifice for me to do it. However, we get a problem of its imperialism people against the justice, against the leader of imperialist. So we have to struggle. We have to be open-minded together. And I say thank you, and Uhuru for this struggling that you are doing over the world. So I'm very happy to be with you. We have been condemned in our system of work about 8 to 9 months without salaries. But now the Ministry of Education has regularized our salaries and we started to get the first payment. So I say Uhuru to all the people who give the chance for the Mali people, Niger people, Burkina people to get this alliance and this new alliance who wish will liberate all our people. And particularly will be an example in Africa. And we say Uhuru we say thank you for all our comrades who together.
We say horror. Thank you. Thank you, Comrade Ibrahim, speaking to us from Havana. And we are just grateful for your participation. And you heard the comment saying he's a part of the trade unions, the Syndicat Libre des Travailleurs of Niger, and his trade union are in unity with our party, which means with African internationalism, which is the ideology of our African working class, the ideology to power the African revolution to its final conclusion. And also, this we say we are in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Niger, and we're raising today 300 pounds. This is our first solidarity meeting, and we won't be able to. We would like to reach that goal as quickly as possible. So 300 pounds. That's what we're raising today, comrades. And thank you so much, Comrade Ibrahim. If you can cut the mic, si vous pouvez couper le micro, camarade Ibrahim. And then we're going to go back to our program. I was introducing the dynamic director of African Socialist International organization on the ground in Africa, also the chair of African Socialist Party. That's Comrade Tafarie Mugeri, who is now online. Uhuru.
Uhuru, chairman of the program, my Secretary General Luwezi Kinshasa, and I'm seeing Comrade Afua there with my name on Comrade Syndicat. Yeah, Uhuru. So I wanna express appreciation for the
sound. We can see you, but there's no sound.
There's no sound.
It's back now. You're back.
We can hear you now. You were muted. Now you're unmuted.
Oh, okay. Uhuru. Yes, Uhuru, comrades. I was just expressing appreciation for the invitation to this extremely important program. First of all, I want to salute, the chairman of the International African Revolution, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and I want to salute, you, Secretary General, Luwezi Kinshasa, Comrade Ibrahim, Comrade APSP-West, Comrade Morlai, Comrade Afua, all the comrades that are part of this program and everyone that is, participating through Facebook, YouTube and, other platforms. I want to salute you, comrades. And yeah, so far, just watching those, slides, Luwezi, of how, France came about as a colonial force and the crisis is experiencing right now. It just tells, African internationalism has been explaining the world, and you can see that France is built on the backs of African people, including the French Revolution, just the French Revolution that's celebrated everywhere, the fact that you mentioned that it was, from the proceeds from the, the exploitation that was taking place in Haiti and so forth, that's just something that African people should be acquainted with. And, if you go all over the world and throughout the colonies, these things that they refer to as countries today, all over Africa, 54 of them and so forth, each one of them, when you study it and look at how they function today, you see the same thing. How, all the resources and labor from African people throughout the last 600 years have, functioned to develop Europe and, even give Europeans, intellectuals that are celebrated all over the world right now, including Karl Marx. I heard that it's Karl Marx's birthday. All these people that and all this development that we're seeing in Europe, people have to see the dialectical relationship between that and the poverty that we experience in Africa. And I think right there in Niger, the people are waking up to that, to realize the fact that, the poverty that we have in Niger with all these resources, the uranium that's being talked about and everything else, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense that we can have all of this stuff, a very rich continent, but at the same time, so much poverty. There's, so that's why I'm just thinking of, one quote that Chairman is popularly known for that says that Africa is not poor, Africa is being looted. So we're seeing the looting in Niger, looting in Nigeria, the same Nigeria that Ibrahim was talking about, saying that they cut off electricity. For the people in Niger, the people that did that is the neo-colonialists who are in power. Because the masses of the people must unite, as Comrade Ibrahim, stated. So we have to unite against these neo-colonial forces all over the continent. And I'm here in South Africa, and in South Africa, it's the same thing. It's colonialism everywhere. Like if we go to, South Africa is supposedly the leading economy in Africa. But the African people in South Africa do not enjoy the fruits of our labor and the fruits of what our land is able to produce. Like Ibrahim was just mentioning right now, saying that South Africa was able to go to the International Court of Justice, taking the illegitimate colonial state of Israel, in defense of the Palestinian people there. But then right here in South Africa, because South Africa, as much as the government can do that, South Africa itself is still a settler colony. The African people here do not enjoy our natural resources. That's why I'm able to feel the pain that our people in Niger are feeling. And I believe it's the same in the United States. African people are able to identify with Niger because of what we are experiencing, to say that, okay, there's all this wealth that we're seeing around here, all this loot that's coming to America, or all these resources that we're seeing moving around just a few kilometers from where I'm standing, like 3 kilometers from where I'm at. We have the deepest mine in the world. The deepest mine in the world is here, right here, next in Fortville, where I'm located. But then the amount of poverty that we're seeing here in Fortville, is just appalling. Right now, fortunately, we have electricity, and the reason we have electricity, we've been having electricity without any blackouts for the last couple of weeks, maybe 4 weeks or something. Only because on the 29th of May, this month is going to be elections. Just because we are going to elections now, there is electricity and there's no longer this thing they call load shedding. Doesn't make sense. How come? How did they all of a sudden solve the problem of, how did they refer to it? The overburdening of the power grid. How did they resolve that overnight? They're doing that because they have to, fool the people so that people can vote for the ANC once again. And when you look at the whole platform in South Africa, you don't even know what to vote for, because the revolution is not on the platform. No one is talking on behalf of the African working class. And speaking of identifying with the struggle of African people in Niger, as an African internationalist, I'm able to identify that the struggle in Niger is my struggle as well, because it's one Africa, one nation. That's why we have to donate all over the world to this, initiative of fighting off the French imperialists in Niger. Like right now in South Africa, all the political parties that are going to elections on the 29th of May, they are going on a platform of what is to be done with the African people who are migrants from other countries. So they're building on a platform of antagonizing the African working class who cross the border, coming to South Africa, to get what they can get from this so-called leading economy on the African continent. And they antagonize the African working class so that the people, the African workers who are so-called citizens here in South Africa, can fight against the Africans from Zimbabwe, Malawi, Nigeria, and these other places. But then the neo-colonialists themselves do not fight amongst each other. Like there's a politician here called Gayton McKenzie. who is, one of the leading proponents, pushing this so-called foreigners from Zimbabwe and so forth. But he has a business in Zimbabwe. He owns a business in Zimbabwe. But then he can tell Africans from Zimbabwe not to come to South Africa because they are foreigners, they're illegals and so forth, right? The same thing that's happening over there with Nigeria. So the African working class in Nigeria cannot unite with the neo-colonial state of Nigeria against the people in Niger. The African workers all over. Okay, thank you. The African workers all over the Sahel in West Africa cannot unite with ECOWAS. The same way the African working class in South Africa cannot unite with these political parties and the South African neo-colonial state. We unite with the African working class in Zimbabwe. We unite with the African working class in Malawi, in Nigeria, in Congo, all over the continent, because that's what they do. They want to divide us so that they can easily conquer us and control us. Right now, these neo-colonial states all over the continent, they are pushing this Africa Free Trade Agreement, whatever, right? And while they do that with the Africa Free Trade Agreement, where is the African working class in that? They say the African working class cannot move around the continent, but then they want to move their businesses and move the money around the continent and exploit our labor throughout the continent and exploit our resources throughout the continent and call this Pan-Africanism. They call this being progressive, that now Africans can trade amongst ourselves and so forth. But African people don't even own anything. I mean, the African working class. That's why as the African People's Socialist Party, under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, we have found it necessary to build throughout the continent. We have the African People's Socialist Party in Namibia. We have the African People's Socialist Party in Zambia, in South Africa here, in Liberia, in what was this? Sierra Leone, in Ghana, where Comrade Afua is, in Benin. And we want to build right there, Comrade Ibrahim, in Niger. Why? Because we want to negate the border so that African people can begin to unite, to build economic development. We have examples. We have done that over the years. Deputy Chair Onazile has even reports, long reports of how we built, factories, how we built, restaurants, how we built, initiated an intra or continental trade, all over the world. African people have the capacity, and we can do that. So I just want to salute, the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and say, hands of Uhuru, hands of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, hands of the Uhuru 3. African people must unite against, these attacks on the leadership of the African Revolution and unite, to defend African people in Niger and all over the continent. Uhuru.
Uhuru, Director Tafarie, you heard the call, everyone. If you just joined, you are following a dynamic program, a powerful program. We have heard from Comrade Ibrahim Hamadou, who is the Secretary General of the Syndicat, Libres of Niger. Now we just heard from Director Tafarie, who's made the call to build the African Socialist International, wherever you are. And that's why it's so significant that we have our own response, our own plan, our own African working class response. That's what we represent. So thank you so much, Director Tafarie. Now we're going to move to our next speaker. Our next speaker is the founder and leader of the whole movement, of the African People's Socialist Party, of the African Socialist International. He has almost by himself solved the fundamental problem left unresolved from the 60s. The question, how you complete the Black Revolution, what your philosophy you have, what vehicle you will use. It connects us from the struggle, from the revolution from Haiti, from Marcus Garvey to Kwame Nkrumah, to all the struggles of the African colonized people to achieve total, complete freedom and to unite African people as one. So can you welcome the leader of the African Revolution, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who's going to give us a keynote speech, basically. Go, Chairman.
Buhuru, thank you so much, Comrade Secretary General Luwezi, Kinshasa. I want to express my appreciation to everybody who has presented and those of us who are still in the process who will be presenting. It's a very important discussion that we're having about France being kicked out of the Sahel area of Africa, and then more recently, the demand being made that the United States move its military forces to, particularly from the Sahel region. And I think that this is extremely important that we have with us Comrade Ibrahim Hamadou from Niger, which right now is central to the expression of resistance by Black people, African people, against the colonial domination of our people right there on the continent of Africa itself. But I would remind us that part of what is really important for us to understand, as has been inferred by people who have spoken before me, is that what is happening in the Sahel, what is happening in terms of even the attacks that's being made on our movement in the Sahel by Nigeria with the authority and leadership of the colonial powers, including the United States and France, et cetera, is a part of the attempt by the colonizers to protect a mode of production that has come into existence with the attack on Africa, our Africa. I think that we should see that this colonial mode of production that I'm speaking of is right now being seriously challenged. That the crisis, there's an extremely serious, powerful crisis that is impacting on the entire world now, and especially on the world that has been constructed by colonizers, by colonialism, a world that got its initial configuration politically and economically from a 600-year-old attack that was made on Africa. And this attack is responsible for African people being in a place called Niger, as opposed to a place called Mali, Burkina Faso, Africans being in England, where we are currently, and in France, and in the United States, et cetera. This assault started 600 years ago that made Europe wealthy. It is true. But it was a part of an assault that also is responsible for the war that's currently being made against the Palestinian people who are trying to break free from the same system that we are trying to break free from. And this is not just some abstract system called imperialism. It is a concrete system, and it has its origin, it has its beginning in the attack on Black people, an attack on Africa, and the forced dispersal of African people all around the world. It is what created for the first time in human history a world economy that did not exist before, that linked the entire planet Earth into a single process of production of life. And that's characterized as a mode of production. It is a mode of production that has its roots in colonialism. And so it's really important for us, we believe, to recognize that we are fighting against colonialism, but not just, again, as some pure abstraction, not just even as a policy of a particular state, a particular government, not just as a policy of the illegitimate white nationalist state of Israel, not just as a policy that may have been begun by Portugal 600 years ago, but something that's more generalized than that. It has become a mode of production, all life, all human life, in human society. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at, and it's important for us to understand that. So in Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, there are examples of resistance that have come to be recognized as critical examples, and we are proud of that. And but the thing is that we are a revolutionary party that has come to understand some time ago that the African Revolution has run into its limitations. It's not the fight for democracy in particular places in the world, whether that's a civil rights movement in the United States or an anti-colonial movement that might be located in Niger or in Ghana or some other place like that. That this struggle has run into its limitations when we are fighting this within these single borders that have been created by our oppressors, and that the liberation of Africa and African people requires us to have an organization that has no respect for these borders, that the borders have to come down. And the way we do that, of course, is build a revolutionary party, that we cannot simply rely on heads of state to come to certain kinds of conclusions that will liberate us. The power is in the people, and especially the people who produce, the working people. That's one of the reasons we're happy to see Ibrahim happy and hoping that he recognized that ultimately the task of the African working class has to be to become the ruling class. Yeah, we cannot continue to simply produce value for the colonial system or for other forces who are alien and hostile to the progress of the African working class. That's our task, to win total liberation. That's what the African People's Socialist Party is. Whether that's the party as it represents itself as the U.S. front of the African Revolution, whether that's the party as it recognizes itself as the Azanian front of the African Revolution, or whether it's the party as it represents itself as a Nigerian front of the African Revolution. We are a single party. And our objective has to be able to have a strategic approach to this revolution that overturns colonialism and liberates Africa and African people. In other words, the productive forces of the African masses has to be liberated. The land has to be liberated. The resources on the land have to be liberated. The human beings who are responsible for producing on the land have to be liberated. That's part of the struggle against colonialism. And against the colonial mode of production. And that's the basis of the attack that's being made on the African People's Socialist Party. The attack on the African People's Socialist Party made in the United States is an attack on the African Revolution, because it's our party that for the first time in almost 100 years has presented a common single organization with a trajectory to destroy the colonial mode of production, not just in one particular place, but all the places where African people are located. And not just to do this only where African people are located, but to do it in concert with other oppressed and colonized peoples globally. And when we do that, what we help to clearly make visible is the fact that our oppressors are a minority on the human planet. They are on this planet. They are a minority of human beings. They are vicious, blood-sucking sharks that are surrounded increasingly by masses of African and other peoples who are conscious of our relationship to this system and are determined to tear it down so that we can live in dignity as human beings. And Africa has been the most humiliated, the most oppressed, the most brutalized population on this earth as a consequence of the war that was initiated against us 600 years ago, and today even deny us the right to consider being free, truly free. Most Africans today, even those who consider themselves revolutionaries and what have you, have the task of escaping from the ideological clutches of the colonizers. This is one of the things that the African People's Socialist Party contributes to. When we say we are one party and that we say one Africa, one nation, we're not speaking as Pan-Africanists. The fact is that those who came, that Pan-Africanism as a political force was something that came into existence to fight against the liberation of African people under the African working class. We recognize that the struggle for national liberation that African people are a part of and that has to continue to move forward. Within that struggle, the class struggle is also raging, which is why you can see in various places where we won what appears to be freedom, or we're engaged in what's supposed to be freedom, there are sectors of the African population who are tied more closely with imperialism, with empire, than they are to the masses of working people who produce all the value that they experience. That's why you can have so-called independence in 50 some odd countries and so-called countries in Africa. And you don't see them building a single hospital. You don't see them building a single university. You don't see them building anything that improves the lot of the people. Rather than do that, they will hop on an airplane and go, the leaders, and go to Saudi Arabia for healthcare. They will go to France and England for healthcare, but not provide any kind of healthcare for the masses of our people. The masses have to have power. The workers have to have power. In order for the workers to get power, we have to have our own party, our own revolutionary party, with the objective not only to create trade unions, which can be good, but recognizing that the working class must become the ruling class, must be that organization that changes the situation where that as it exists now, where there's socialized production, where people in society have to come together and to produce on the one hand, and we do that socially, but on the other hand, the means of production are privately owned, so that the people who work don't have the benefit of the labor, but the ones who have the benefit of the labor are people who don't work at all. That has to be changed. That's what our party is about. And so our objective is to win power, African liberation, but recognizing there is no liberation at all unless that is in the possession of the working class ourselves. And the working class cannot have liberation unless we have our own independent revolutionary organization. And the independent revolutionary organization is the African People's Socialist Party, expressed globally as the African Socialist International. So I'm hoping that we can do another kind of event where people can learn more about what is happening there in Niger, where people can learn more about what is the mission of the officers who took power in Niger from the corrupt and neo-colonial entity there. Same thing being true with Mali and Burkina Faso. What is the plan? What is the program? How do the workers come closer to power and changing our lives? How do we move beyond that? And to do that, we're going to have to build the party, the African People's Socialist Party in Niger, and the African People's Socialist Party in Mali and these other places. That's our responsibility. And we cheer on, we congratulate, we salute the young officers who had the courage to take power against France. And that is a movement toward greater democracy. But we have to move beyond simply the democratic revolution that's expressed in the struggle against colonialism, and we have to move toward the achievement of political and economic power in the possession of the African working class ourselves. And that takes the Revolutionary Party. That takes a revolutionary philosophy that takes us beyond simply a concept that says we are all Africans, but we are all Africans who have an objective of overturning a social system and that would put the African working class in power. In order to do that, we have to have our own party. That party is the African People's Socialist Party, known globally as the African Socialist International. So we need to see materialize in Niger the African People's Socialist Party in Niger that can provide leadership for the African workers who are there, and because the workers have to have their own power, have to have their own party that will move us toward the capture of political power and in unity with the workers of throughout the African world and the workers of the world. We believe that the future belongs to us. It's a matter of us being organized well enough. And we also recognize that in order to have revolution, there are several things that are necessary, and included crisis. There has to be crisis for revolution, and crisis abounds throughout the world, throughout Africa, throughout the world, throughout the United States. There's crisis, major, profound crisis that the U.S. is doing everything trying to escape it. That's why they're killing Palestinians, and that's why they are putting African revolutionaries in prisons in the United States that brags about being such a democratic place. The work that there has to be crisis, there has to be an inability of the ruling class to rule in the same old way. And we see that the bourgeoisie, the colonial powers, and the neo-colonial powers cannot rule in the same old way. Even ECOWAS doesn't work anymore. People are having to get out of ECOWAS because it's exposing itself to the people as being a corrupt entity simply in the service of imperial white power. In addition to that, what is necessary to make a revolution is the people have to have their own independent revolutionary political party. And in addition to having just a political party, it has to be a party that is led by revolutionary, advanced scientific theory. And that theory is African internationalism. And what I've just described is the African People's Socialist Party existing in this time of crisis with the responsibility of taking the African working class to power to liberate all of our Africa and African people throughout the world. We say that what is absolutely necessary is the total, absolute, unconditional liberation of Africa and every square inch of Africa and African people under the leadership of the African working class wherever we exist in the world. So again, it's good to see Comrade Ibrahim. It's good to see all of you comrades coming from various places around the world. You're the clearest examples of African internationalism and the significance of African internationalism, and all the comrades who are with us, who are also participating in some way or another in this webinar, people who are in solidarity with the struggle of African people to take our power, with the struggle of African people to take our Africa, with the struggle of African people to take back our dignity, to take back our resources that have been expropriated at gunpoint by European colonizers. So thank you very much, Comrade Uhuru. Izwele to Africa.
Uhuru, Chairman, the leader of African Revolution, the leader of a world revolution. You can see why community will need to mobilize to put the United States government on trial, the U.S. state on trial. We have to defeat the U.S. state. That's why we're calling on everyone to be mobilized for the trial on the 3rd of September. Wherever you are, you can go on handsofwho.org. You can definitely unite with the task that's being asked from anyone who wants to unite, who want to join with this powerful struggle that we are waging to defeat the United States government, stop them from putting our chairman in their jails, and also stop them from arresting our comrade from Solidarity, comrade JC and Penny. So you can see why. Now, what we want to do, just some adjustment. If Comrade Moise is ready, we can do the appeal now. And then we go back to co-organization membership, and then we can also slot in Comrade Afua in that section. And then we go for discussions, question for answers after that. So if we can go for the appeal now. Comrades, everyone who's listening, this is your time to show your unity in practice. We ask you in the beginning to like and share, but also now we need to meet the goal. This is our first meeting. You heard the chairman saying this will be a follow-up. So we need to build a more, a larger meeting as a follow-up on this. And we want you to be with us. We want you to be part of it. And our goal today is a modest goal. We're just going for 300 euros, which one person can do in one time. Maybe two people can do in, by giving 150, or maybe 10 people can donate 30 euros, and that will be quickly done. So we're calling on anyone who's listening, who is on a phone, who is on a Zoom, whatever medium you're listening to, or Facebook, please. Can we meet this goal? That's what we need to begin to build. You heard the chairman speaking. Not only we are in solidarity with the African people's struggle in Niger, but we want to go behind the democratic revolution that is happening in Niger, because the absolute freedom for all Black people requires the African workers to assume power, to become the new ruling class. And the African working class needs to organize. It needs means, tools to organize so we can complete the Black Revolution. So this is what your resources will do. And we're talking about Niger. We want to build in Niger. So can you donate kindly to this goal. Chair Mwezi.
Uhuru Luwezi. Well, I just really want to salute such a really powerful webinar, and it's really such an honor to be here, building the African Socialist International, building the African People's Socialist Party wherever we are. And, this is the most concrete way that right now in this moment, we can make a contribution to building the African People's Socialist Party wherever it is. As the chairman said, building economic and political power in the possession of the African working class. And what you are seeing here are African revolutionaries, are professional African revolutionaries, who are serious about ending colonialism in all of its forms. And, I just really want to remind everybody, if you are listening right now, as you heard from Secretary General Luwezi Kinshasa, go to www.paypal.me/ASI Uhuru. And actually, we need to correct that because we did have a problem with that link, SG Luwezi. So we're going to get a new slide up. But we do, if you are listening on YouTube or on Zoom, you have the link. So please go and donate right now. Thank you to our tech. And I did want to also just say, I just wanted to join you, SG Luwezi, in really, appreciating the presentation from Comrade Ibrahim Hamadou in Niger, and just really wanted to appreciate this comrade who is, helping to build the, and take out the theory of African internationalism in Niger and throughout the world, and making a call for us to be, to do what we had tried to do in 1963, well, through Kwame Nkrumah, was to unite the African nation. And this is just a very powerful webinar. And I'm gonna, I think right now, if you look, you should be able to see the, coming up soon, the correct link to donate. So thank you, SG Luwezi. I'll turn it back to you as we work to resolve this. Uhuru.
Yes, well, so from what I can see, we have already raised, I think, 132 euros. So we are getting close to our goal. So we need to definitely meet our goal for 200 euros. As I said, it's a modest amount of money, but it's a beginning. It's a beginning because for a better future, because as I said, this is not a one-off meeting. This is the first meeting we're doing. We're going to come back with a more powerful meeting, larger meeting, more mobilization, so that we can move the process of African revolution forward. And we always say it along, we are not the outsiders, the African Socialist International, Chairman Omali, we are part of the struggle to change the world. We are part of the struggle to change Africa, but more importantly, we are showing the way how you can complete the struggle from Nkrumah. How will you complete the struggle of Garvey? How will you complete the struggle of Malcolm X? How will you complete the struggle of Thomas Sankara? You have to build a party that will allow the workers to go beyond the democratic revolution that's happening. The workers have to become the new ruling class. That's how we will complete the struggle. We all want Africa to unite. Black people say that everywhere. But how will you unite Africa? Short of a revolution. How will you unite Africa if you don't have the working class leading the revolution? How will you unite Africa if the working class is not the leadership of Africa, the new nation we want to build? Because the African working class have no nation. The nation has to be a united Africa. Our chairman say every inch square of Africa has to be united. That's what we are fighting for. That's what we're fighting for in Niger. That's what we're fighting for in Mali, in Burkina, in Haiti too. We fight in Haiti for a united state for Africa. Yeah, one struggle. And that's why we want you to contribute to this fund so we can come back here with Comrade Ibrahim Hamadou, who will speak to us about what's happening on the ground, what programs is going on the ground, what solutions being implemented on the ground. All this information you need to have so we can be mobilized. So this time, as we always say in the party, until it's won. And that's why we need your resources. I'm not sure where we are now, but I know we already reached 130.
Yes. Exactly. Well, yes, SG Luwezi, I was just about to give us an update on some of the donations that have come through. and just wanted to really unite in that call to mobilize the African nation and to donate. So if you're looking on the screen right now, you see the new link. It's www.paypal.com/paypalme/Uhuru-ASI. So, and that's being put in the chat as well for everybody. And I just wanted to also say thank you to Comrade MQ for their donation, as well as Sandra for your donation, and also Earl. And right now we have a total of 162 euros raised, and that leaves us with 138 left. And I don't know the conversion, but your donation will convert to helping us reach our goal. So I just wanted to appreciate those comrades and turn it back to you, SG Luwezi. And I think, later on in the program, we can come back and give everybody an update about how close we are to reaching our goal. Uhuru.
Can you, Chair Wish, can you add me £20? It will be maybe $21, $22. I'm not sure, but they're getting very close, those colonial currencies, pound, euro, and the dollar. They're getting very close. So 20. Yes.
So that's the 20s from SG Luwezi. Okay. All right, so I know our counter got that. Thank you, Comrade Uhuru.
So anyone who's listening, we want you to match in any of our donation. Some people give 20, some people 10, but we want you to join and match those donations. As I said, it's modest, but of course it's not modest. This is the greatest cause of humankind. So when you donate to this conference, to this meeting, you're contributing to the greatest cause of humankind, which is what? Get rid of colonialism as a mode of production. And who's the leading force in that? The African Socialist Party under the leadership of Chairman Omali. Don't you feel you should donate? And this meeting is also is connected to the mobilization to put the United States on trial. All our struggles are connected. We fight in Niger, we fight in Mali, we fight in Paris, in London. Where we're fighting, all these struggles are connected. And you're also connected to the struggle of our colonized people. When you donate here, you're also making the United States less capable of uniting the settler Zionists in occupied Palestine. They're all connected. Make the African Revolution stronger. You're making the United States colonizer weaker. You're making all the allies of the United States in Africa weaker. So your currency, your money is serving the greatest cause of humanity. So join us, not just say it's good, we appreciate that, but now we need to build a budget for the next meeting. We need a budget to get the workers mobilized in West Africa, and you'll be part of that budget. Contribute. You're investing in your future. This investment in our future, brothers and sisters and comrades, you're listening. We're investing in our own future. Doesn't matter where you are, you're watching this. So join us for capture of our future. That's what your pound, your dollar, or your euro will do. So match some of our donation. So we can see where are we going. So I don't know how many minutes we have before we bring the next part, but we want to meet our goals.
Yes.
Help us meet our goals. $300 is really modest, brothers and sisters and comrades. It's really modest. So let us meet that. Let's show what the African working class can do when it's mobilizing, its best sons and daughters around the world. Oh, comrades.
Yes, I know we have to move it. So I just wanted to unite with the call to build economic and political power in the hands of the working class, build the African Socialist International. And just before we move, we have a total of 185 euros raised. So that leaves us with 115 euros left to go. So go ahead and make your donation at www.paypal.com/paypalme/Uhuru-ASI. Thank you, comrades. Uhuru. One Africa.
One nation.
One nation.
One Africa.
Africa. Uhuru.
Uhuru. So you are watching this powerful, dynamic program to forward the African Revolution process. You listen to the leader of African Revolution, Chairman Omali. Now we have leaders, the regional leaders, the leaders on the ground doing the work in Africa with us. We're going to bring Comrade Afua who is responsible for economic development in the West Africa region. And after that, we make the Gulf organization from Chair Tafarie and Chair Morlai. So can we welcome Comrade Afua right there in Accra, in the country of the great Kwame Nkrumah. Is Comrade Afua ready?
Yeah, we're trying to start video and start.
Okay. So continue to like, continue to share as we continue to donate, as we trying to work out the technology to bring Comrade Afua to get connected with Accra, so we can hear from our comrade sister. This is coming up.
She's unmuted as Luwezi, so you can see if she can hear you. Uhuru.
Yes, word.
Raymond, some starting.
Welcome, Comrade Afua.
Uhuru.
Thanks for joining the program. Everyone is waiting to hear from you.
Yes. Yes.
You ready?
Wake up, Africa. Yes.
Yes,
I'm ready.
go ahead.
Wake up.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, she's unmute. Okay, she was muted by mistake, so she's unmuted now. Uhuru.
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 One Africa.
One nation.
One nation.
One
Tax
Africa.
one.
Tacho.
Uhuru. My name is Afua, a member and economic coordinator for the African People's Socialist Party in West Africa. My thanks go to our leader and founder, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who has enlightened us all these years, and his bold leadership. Without his teachings, some of us will not know ourselves and really who we are. Thanks goes to the Uhuru tree for the great job and boldness in our work, the good work done. I say Aiko. My thanks goes to all the leaders and members around the globe who are helping the organization everywhere, both diaspora or on the continent. I say Aiko, which means well done. Without unity, this wouldn't work. We must unite and work tireless for our common goals, which is freedom. They say we have independence and controlling our resource, land, our schools, name, region, mines, and economic, market, food, and drinks, and dividing us with borders. We don't even have control of our minds. This must stop, so African people can move freely as brothers and sisters. We are divided and can't trade within because these borders are pushing us back so much that we can't breathe. We need to breathe. We need our freedom. A lot depends on us where and why we unite and organize. They determine which price they want on our minerals and gold, so people can't pay for their health and feed for their children. We need to breathe. No matter where you are, rich or poor, as Black, you are African. Let's unite. This is our strength and tools. Let's not forget what is shame to a lizard, is shame to a crocodile, because we are one family. Africa is for Africans, home and abroad. Let's unite. Let's organize everywhere we find ourselves within ourselves. We must organize and win. We are winning. Each one, teach one. Uhuru. We need ourselves. We must organize one Africa, one nation. Uhuru. Izualetu.
Africa.
Africa.
Isolate. Whoa, Comrade Afua, thank you so much. You just heard from the base of the class of the African working class in Accra, in Ghana. We organizing the African working class everywhere. That was Comrade Afua Walla, who is the Director of Economic and Finance and in the African People's Socialist Party, West Africa region. Thank you so much, Comrade Afua. Now we're going to move to the COF organization and membership. We're going to hear from the Director of African Socialist International on the continent, Chair Tafarie, and also Chair Morlai. Whoa, comrade. Whoa, Director Tafarie. Whoa, Chair Morlai.
Okay, something is happening here. I can't, you can't start your video because the host is this. Okay, there you go. Okay. Uhuru.
Yes, word, Director.
Yeah, my message is very short, SG Luwezi. I just want to call on everyone to join the African People's Socialist Party. You know, just to say that as Morlai is going to speak, you will see that our party is building all over the world. Doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're an African, then you recognize the fact that African people must have freedom and independence. Then you should join this revolutionary political party, the African People's Socialist Party, which was founded in 1972, just immediately after the Black Revolution of the 1960s. It was born from the ashes of that defeated Black Revolution of the 1960s. And our mission is to complete that Black Revolution. And as you can see, there's a resurgence of people all over the world, colonized people rising up to take power in their own hands. You see there in Niger, African people, you know, rising up. You're seeing people in Mali. You're seeing also people in Palestine. You know, people all over the world. Imperialism is losing. Imperialism is in a crisis. But then I'm just reminded of what Chairman Omali Yeshitela has said before, that just because this social system is in a crisis, it doesn't mean that you know, African people will automatically become free. You know, everything will come our way, and then you know, we'll automatically have this you know, glorious Africa. We have to work for it. You know, so I just want us to embrace the, you know, the concept of not merely fighting for revolution, but fighting for revolution through work. And that is the African People's Socialist Party. Join the African People's Socialist Party wherever you are. We are building in South Africa, building branches all over the country right now, building in Namibia, building in Zambia, building in Liberia, building in Sierra Leone, in Benin, in Niger, right there, Luwezi in London. We have comrades all over the United States, in the Caribbean. Doesn't matter where you are. As long as you are an African, join the African People's Socialist Party. Go to APSP-Uhuru.org. Go to APSP-Uhuru.org and join the African People's Socialist Party. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you so much, Director Tafarie. You heard the call. Join today. Don't delay. Join today. Be part of the African People's Socialist Party. Be part of the future. So I want to thank you, Director Tafarie. Before we bring Chair Morlai, who is the chair of the African People's Socialist Party in Sierra Leone, is also the regional representative of the party in the West Africa region. We want to thank those who are sending resources. We are now £60 short to meet our goal. £60. That's 6 people donating £10, or 3 people donating £20, or 4 people donating £15, or just 2 people donating £30, or 1 person donating £60. So we can meet our goal. So we are almost there. Keep sending resources. So now we want to welcome Morlai Conteh, the chair of the African People's Socialist Party in Sierra Leone and the regional representative of the African People's Socialist Party in West Africa. Whoa, Morlai.
Yeah, Uhuru SG, Luwezi. Thank you very much, SG, for me to be part and parcel of this profound webinar. And I believe I want to use this opportunity. And the first place is to salute my leadership, Chairman Omali, Yeshitela, who is here with us, the leader of the African nation. We are winning, definitely. And I will also want to use this opportunity to thank you for the fight, the struggle to liberate Africa begins with us, we the working class, as show the solidarity that we African people to be in struggle with the working class. So no matter where people are, they are calling upon them to join this revolution, join the African People's Socialist Party in Africa as African people to elevate the mindset of Omali Yeshitela clearly stated that the importance of this revolution is to see that the working class champion the destiny of their life, the working class champion the existence of their life, and to break the colonial mode of production. I think this is very important for any African people to come around in solidarity with the revolution. So wherever we are, I'm here from our comrade, the dynamic economic director, how best we are building in the continent. It clearly shows how we are stretching our muscles to see that the working class in Africa become liberated under the theory of African internationalism. So I want to call upon everyone, wherever you are, join the cause, join the liberation struggle to build Africa, to liberate ourselves from the colony that has engulfed in Africa for the past decades. This is what the African Revolution is all about. Started in 1972 by Chairman Omali Yeshitela. We are completing the liberation of the African struggle since the 60s, and we know we will definitely win, we will definitely have victory. So comrades out there, if you are watching us live from Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, just go to uhuru.org, sign in for a membership option. This is the time. I know we are winning from any corner that we are. Long live the revolution, long live Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and long live the Uhuru movement. Uhuru, one Africa, one nation. One nation, one Africa.
Uhuru. You just listened, you just heard Comrade Morlai Conteh, the chair of the African People's Socialist Party in Sierra Leone, also the regional representative of the African People's Socialist Party in West Africa, making the call to join now, to join. So everyone who's listening, take that call, invest in the future, bring the revolution forward, and join the fight to defend Chairman Omali. As Comrade Morlai say, long live the African Revolution, long live Chairman Omali, long live the African Revolution. We are winning. Thank you so much. We want to also say thank you to Comrade Lane, to Comrade Melanie, to Comrade Diane, to Comrade Jamila, to Comrade Rebecca, to Chairman, and to all those who donated. We have raised more than €300. We exceeded our goal. We are now to 458 euros. So thank you so much to everyone. And we know when we unite, there is nothing can stop us. Africa and African nation, we are invincible. Nobody can defeat a united African nation. And that's what we're saying. Build the party wherever you are. Build the party in West Africa. And you can see we're going to have Niger, where we have Common Ibrahim, with the task to build a party there. We're going to have Sierra Leone, where you heard Common Morlai. We are all in Liberia. We are in Benin. We are in Ghana. So that's the future. We're calling on you to join the future. The future is where everyone needs to have a future. So that's the future of Africa, of the world. The African revolution is. So thank you so much, Common Morlai, and everyone who donated. So I know you've been waiting for this next part of the program. We want to get to the question and discussion, and it's going to be very tight. We want you to be precise to your question, no more than a minute, because we stop that so we can take as many questions as possible. And so hopefully in a matter of 10 minutes, we can have meaningful discussion. So if there were any questions that came through, if this can be read or it can be put on the chat, I can read it, so we can move this process forward. Are there any questions that have come through? Okay, if there are no questions on a Zoom or on a Facebook, no questions, because I can't see from the Facebook here. I can only see what's happening on Zoom.
Uhuru Luwezi, this is Mwezi. There was just a comment on YouTube that I sent to you in the chat. I can read it if you'd like.
Yeah, please go ahead, Reese.
Okay. And so just wanted to say Nathaniel Panther wrote, this was during the presentations earlier in the program, Free Congo, Free Sudan, Free Palestine. And, you know, victory and standing with the Chairman Omali Yeshitela for the unification, you know, of the African nation. And so I just wanted to appreciate Nathan for tuning in to our program, and also everyone who was tuning in and helped us to reach our goals. So I want to tell people, you know, continue to donate to build the ASI. And I see the chairman has joined us, so we can, you know, continue the discussion, but I'll add questions later if there's more. Uhuru.
I just want to say, we've been around, as chairman said, often for a while, for a long time, you might say. People always come with excuses or reasons why we cannot win, or you know, things like that. But we're saying not only we can win, we are winning. It's not a question for us of if we can win. No, we are winning. Now we want to complete the Black Revolution, and you hear about the crisis. The system is in crisis. Every look is crisis. It's not the first time the system is into crisis. In the 60s, they were into crisis, and that's why they came with the neo-colonial solution. But what was missing in the 60s, the African working class did not have their own independent revolutionary philosophy, which we call African internationalism, which we have now. In the 60s, we did not have African Socialist International. We didn't have the African People's Socialist Party. The African working class did not have its own revolutionary party, its own tool to fight for basic democratic rights, but also to capture power and to advance the revolutionary process to its conclusion. Now we have it. That's the difference. Now we have it. And that's why it's so fundamental, unity, you know. So we have chairman with us. This is a privilege to have chairman in any meeting that you can go to. So if chairman, you want to Chair Mwezi, if you don't have questions, I will go to the chairman, ask for I think we should probably allow Ibrahim to say his final point, then I go to the chairman for a conclusion or concluding remarks. I think that would be probably better. If there are no questions. Okay, we don't have a question. So come on, Ibrahim. So is there anything you want to add, you want to say where we are now?
Okay, thank you, Kamal.
Speak louder.
It's just to remind our comrade that we have made a request to our comrade according to our situation, particular situation of our trade unions who has been punished by the ECOWAS. So we have made a request to Uhuru Party, so that I send to you. Is just to remind about these solidarities that we are looking for. Thank you very much, Uhuru, to all the comrades. I am very, very satisfied to participate to this emission.
Uhuru, come Ibrahim. Thank you so much for being available, for being a participant in this process. And we're looking forward to the next webinar we're going to do. So we're going to continue to work to advance the African revolutionary process and continue to mobilize the African working class so we can have our own political organization and fight for power as a future working class. So, thank you. As I said, it's a privilege to have Chairman Yeshitela, Chairman of Medicine in every meeting, because not only it's a part of history, but it's a historical leader. As I was saying, it's about its significance. He solved almost all the problems left unresolved. The questions of theory, philosophy, the party we need to have, and Igbo clarity, all the issues we didn't have access to, particularly people born in the 60s and after. Who's Garvey, who's Nkrumah, how to understand the white left, all these questions. So it's immense. We can talk about his achievement all day, it's just incredible. So once more, can we all welcome the leader of African Revolution, Chairman Omali Sierra. Chairman.
Well, thank you, Comrade Secretary General Luwezi. And I just want to say that one difficulty that we are confronted with, generally speaking, as African people, as those of us who have to complete this revolution, it's not peculiar to Africans, but the world has lived under colonial domination for a long period of time. Most of the peoples of the world, that's what you see breaking out, whether it's Palestine, whether it's Venezuela, whether it's Cuba, whether it's in Missouri or Niger, that people are breaking free, struggling to break free, trying to break free from this colonial domination. We've lived under colonialism for hundreds of years. And generally speaking, we've accepted the colonizer's definition of reality. And of course, when we talk about the colonizer, we are obviously talking about the heads of states, these governments that dominate us. And it's really important to recognize that. But the other thing that we're talking about is we're defining a socio-economic relationship. And it is more than the identity of the heads of states and of governments that we are talking about. When we look at colonialism, Africans are colonized people. Africans are colonized where they're presidents or vice presidents or anything like that. We live under colonial domination. It's a structural relationship that we have. And the white people are the colonizers. Colonialism was born with this, what is now known as a racial character. Race is something that was invented during the whole process of the emergence of colonialism as a phenomenon in the world. And I mention this only because we have too much respect for the oppressor. We have too much respect for the narrative that has been created by the oppressor, because it's the only one, generally speaking, we've had access to. And it's difficult for us, to many instances, to break free from it. That's one of the most important tasks that we have as the African People's Socialist Party, whether we are located in a township, a community, any place in the world, helping the people to break free from the narrative, having respect for the narrative that's been presented to us by our oppressors, by our colonizers. And of course, what we're looking at, and I've had this discussion with people who were really part of what was characterized as revolutionary organizations in the 1960s, and particularly, but not exclusively, people from the continent of Africa who assumed that the colonizer did do some good. that they did create education and they did create this or that. But the fact is that we confer too much respect to the colonizer. The process of creating this system that dominates us killed 1/3 of the African population that existed at the time on the continent of Africa. Something like 200 million African people were murdered, were killed during this process of colonialism. That's a hell of a lot of people. That's 1/3 of 600 million people who existed on the continent of that time. Something like 200 million people were killed throughout this process. The brutal dispersal of African people. When they say they killed us, they destroyed they destroyed our economies, our economic institutions. They integrated us into an economy of exploitation and oppression where we were the exploited and we were the oppressed. That's the relationship that we've been that's been pushed on us that's going on 600 years now. I just think it's really important for us to understand that we cannot find redemption within the system that was founded like that and that requires the loss of our freedom and our resources for its existence. You think about that. We talk about the uranium that's coming from Niger and how much electricity France gets from uranium. Do you think France is going to give that up? Do you think the French intellectuals come forward with an explanation of reality that says that they can give up those resources in Niger? No, Niger has to be defined as this backwards, hostile entity that deserves every oppression and every exploitation that comes from France. This is something that I think is really important for us to understand, that there is no legitimacy in the colonial system. None. It is totally, absolutely, completely illegitimate. It's an illegitimate relationship that's been forced on us by gunpoint. It's been forced on the peoples of the whole planet Earth. We look at Palestine, that people have to look at now because of the heroism of the Palestinian people fighting against this vicious white nationalist military enterprise that they call Israel. The people are fighting just to liberate themselves from this relationship that we have. People want to be free, and that's African people too, but we have to be able to respect our own agency as a people. As a dignified people, we cannot accept servitude to any force in the world. We must proclaim to ourselves that we won't do that. We won't be slaves to ideas. We're criticizing all of those ideas that are used to hold up and the oppressor at the expense of African people and colonized peoples around the world. I think it's really important for us to understand that, and to recognize that we have the responsibility to free ourselves, that the borders they created in Africa are illegitimate. They're illegitimate borders, and that they suffocate us and they distort our relationships with each other and they distort our relationships to the world. These borders were created to suck resources out of Africa, to suck everything out of Africa, and then they do that. As long as they exist, that's what's going to be happening to our Africa. They got to go. It's not just a matter of wishing they would go away. They have to go away, and we have to build an organization to make that possible for it to occur. And I think that's extremely important. And also, when we speak as African internationalists, we speak as the African working class. When we speak as the African working class or the toiling masses of the world, we may not meet the definition of the working class that comes from Marx or Lenin or somebody else, but we're talking about people who, in order to exist, have to produce life for ourselves. We are the ones who produce that life. And so when we say the people, the African people, we are speaking from the perspective of our class. And I think it's really important for us to recognize that. So that's necessary to overturn the perception that we have of each other, and it challenges the perception that will be imposed on us by the world. That's why this perception is one that's perpetuated by this war, this attack that was made on the African Revolution on July 29, 2022,
when they attacked our party and our movement in St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis, Missouri. It was an attack on Africa, the African Revolution, and they did it in a way that says that African people are too stupid to know we are oppressed, or we are not really oppressed. We're just saying that because the Russians told us to say it. This is the most obscene and ridiculous kind of statement they would make, but it's based on the perception that people have, many people in the world have, that African people do not have the ability to think for ourselves, that we are just some kind of graduated monkeys or something that need white trainers to explain the world for us, to tell us to jump and to perform for them. That's what they're working with, and all of us need to be extremely offended by the whole notion that we don't know we are oppressed, that we somehow love white domination. We love them sucking our resources. We love them taking away the future of our children, etc. This is what they would suggest, and that somehow we are involved in some criminal enterprise under the leadership of some other white people, and when we talk about our freedom. So I just think it's really important, you know, for us to be conscious of part of what we are doing is we are fighting to reclaim our dignity, to reclaim our agency, and especially among ourselves to be able to do that. If we can walk boldly in the world knowing that we are critical to the continuing existence of this social system. It can't exist without us, and it can't exist in the way it does now. So in order for this system to exist, African people have to be oppressed. We have to live under these horrible circumstances, and that's a fundamental basis for our having to be opposed to it and struggling to take our freedom back for ourselves and for our children. So thank you, comrades. I just wanted to make that point and you know, and just reconfirm for us our responsibility to live as dignified people, and as Comrade Thomas Sankara to say, as upright men and women, to live upright men and women, and to be intolerable, or even the idea that some European colonizer, etc., has the right to oppress us because the European colonizer made a law that said it's legal to oppress us, legal to have us locked into this world where they continue to steal our resources, steal our lives, steal our culture, steal everything about us. We reject that totally. And the African Socialist International, the African People's Socialist Party, is on the front line of that opposition, which is one of the reasons they attack us, because they have to get through us in order to get to the African masses themselves. Uhuru.
Well, Chairman, thank you so much for this perfect summation. There is no anything to add. So we just thank you so much, Chairman. That was incredible. That was powerful. That was perfect. So we thank you for that. And I would like to thank everyone who contributed to the success of this meeting by sharing, by liking, by giving donation. We also thank those who make the decision today to join. And we look forward to the next, in fact, I can't even say we're looking for the next webinar. There are many events we need to do, but particularly we want you to join this effort to defend our chairman and the Uhuru Free. Go to uhuru.org today. Unite with that campaign. See what you can do from where you are located. So I want to say thank you to the audio, to the APSP team, from Director Kire, from Chairman Luwezi, from Comrade Karega, everyone who contributed to make this a success. And thank you to all participants, Comrade Ibrahim, for being part of this meeting. I want to say thank you to Comrade Afua in West Africa and to Comrade Morlai in West Africa, and also to Director Tafarie. Thank you, Chairman Luwezi, again, and thank you to all you all. And above all, thank you, Chairman, for creating the African Socialist International, the African internationalism, the answer to build a better humanity, a free, a united Africa, where the workers will be in power, directing our own lives. Thank you so much. So look forward to our next meeting. Thank you so much, everyone. Whoa, one Africa,
one nation,
one nation,
one Africa.
Atlas.
One nation.
Thank you. Whoa.